Hi, and welcome to the latest edition of Urban Myths and Legends. We're here at Ronkonkoma County Park. We're going to take you in and show you all of the things that we've had happen here at this location.
All right, so here we are at Ronkonkoma County Park. The history, there's not much to it around here. It's right next to Lake Ronkonkoma. It's a nature preserve now. Years ago, we're not too sure what actually here. There's, like I said, there's not a lot of history. Some people do believe that Indians did roam these grounds, so I'm sure that kind of ties with a lot of the storylines that go here. Years ago, we had a group come up from Louisiana, and there was a couple of sensitives and psychics and a couple of their paranormal researchers, and we took them out here. They had no clue where we were going for the night. We just took them in the woods, and right around this section they started feeling presence of an Indian, more of like a chief type, like a head, and they said they felt like he was around the area. Nothing negative or anything like that, but it was a very intense feeling. So that's one of the claims of what they felt around this area.
This whole region of Lake Ronkonkoma was occupied by the Algonquin Indians. They lived through all of this land. This is where they were. So, and those stories kind of coincide with what we know historically about this area. In terms of some paranormal experiences that we've had here, myself and Mike were investigating, and we were on the pathway. We were in an open field just like this. And while we were in there, we started seeing shadow people darting across us. And it wasn't like one or two, it was like probably 5 or 6 all around us. And we started getting this intense feeling of being watched and being surrounded. And it was so overwhelming. We ended up pressing on a little bit further into the woods, and the whole time while we're walking down this pathway, we just kept feeling like somebody was following us and watching us. And that's one experience that we've had here at Ronkonkoma County Park.
And during that time of the investigation, we actually did capture some pretty decent EVPs as well. So that is some of the stuff that happened here. There's another claim. Years ago, there was kids here partying. I think it was like the year end of school, and they came in here. They had a bonfire going, and one of the kids took the keg and threw it in the fire. Not too long after that, the keg actually exploded and killed one of the kids. And a lot of people do claim when they come here at nighttime, they'll see like a white misty figure kind of just appear and then disappear. A couple of years back, we did capture what looked like a very small fog or mist in the air. It was probably about 8 feet in the air. It kind of fluttered and then just disappeared really quick. So we did capture that on video a while back. But
I guess this is kind of like the main square where when we come and investigate, this is kind of our starting ground. We start here, and there are paths that go over to a house location, which we will be talking to you about later. And there's another pathway that leads to this little inlet of water that goes straight into Lake Ronkonkoma.
So here we are inside Ronkonkoma County Park, and at this very location, the myth and urban legend is that there was 2 guys and 1 girl came out here to camp one night, and this used to all be water behind me, and there was like a little island in the middle, and they actually like rode out to it, and they were camping there, and for some reason the guys decided to rape and kill this woman. And so some of the claims are that you'll hear screams in the woods, you'll see a lady in white roam around these grounds.
So my name is Teresa. I'm a part of the psychic department with Long Island Paranormal Investigators. While I was here, I experienced cries for help around this area. I also saw the woman in white that's claimed to be here. And there was just a lot of really like sad and creepy feelings over by this pond.
Years ago, when we first came here, we were with one of our guest investigators, John, and we were deep into the woods, and he had a very thick beard, and a bug actually crawled into his beard and bit him, and he freaked us all and yelled, get it off me, get it off me. So we all jumped and got a little scared. A year later, we went back. It was 4 investigators, all guys, who came to this very spot, and we were talking briefly about that. And you hear an EVP, a Class A EVP, clear as day, that says, get it off me, just like that.
You just realized it was a goat? No, that one wasn't a mosquito. I went like this and I grabbed it between his fingers. It was the beetle. That thing was a fucking beetle. That thing was a fucking beetle. That thing was a fucking...
So here we are. This is the house we were telling you about earlier. At this area, there's a pathway to the right of me. When we were investigating, it goes around the bend around the house and it leads to a street. And while we were here, we saw what looked like a light coming in, and we heard rustling like people were coming in. So we backed up a little bit off the path so we couldn't be heard. And then we started hearing movement on the opposite side of us. And it sounded like the rustling was getting closer. And I told the group, we were looking around the bend, I said, just stay here. Whoever comes, it's going to be what it's going to be. And the light got closer, and the rustling got closer on both sides. And then I watched the light fade away, and the steps were coming heavier and heavier. And then when it felt like they were upon us, they just stopped. So the whole group started to freak out. We thought like maybe people were coming in and were surrounding us, and you just had that intense feeling. And as soon as they got on top of you, they just disappeared.
So this is one of the pathways where I had an experience with one of our other fellow investigators, Kristen. We were standing here investigating, and we saw a shadow person running back and forth. While that person was running back and forth, we heard a bunch of rustling noises. At the same time, me and Kristen turned to each other and said, do we feel like we're being surrounded? And we both just felt like really like we were being surrounded in this area. Also a lot of different like shadow people, like I said, and the woman in white also I've seen roaming through the side of the woods.
So thank you very much for joining us this week on Urban Myths and Legends. Hope you enjoyed us taking you through Ronkonkoma County Park, checking out the location, hearing the stories, and make up your own mind on what you think about Ronkonkoma County Park. Until next time, take care.